Oh, glorious day! The pushback on monopolies is finally upon us. The government does not like competition. I've been saying it all along. They really want to maintain their power and be able to exploit their greed. And they don't appreciate other folks honing in on their territory. So this story starts here as I predicted that it eventually would, with the Bertelsmann attempt to acquire Simon Schuster. And that was in part to try to bail Paramount out of a pretty deep hole. So, without further ado, let's dive into it. Here we go. Oh! Glorious. So I've been covering the massive increase in monopolies and duopolies in many of the cultural sectors that touch on our daily lives, and there's an awful lot of them. Most recently, in last week's coverage, we spoke about Apple's growing list of detractors over their monopolistic controls via their App Store, and what that finally kind of yielded in the EU, and what it's probably going to yield here in the United States. A lot of companies coming after Apple because of, again, how they do business. Now, the Paramount sale of Simon & Schuster hit the table a few months back. I was pretty clear that I thought that this was going to face some very intense scrutiny. I was right. I actually called it out as wildly inappropriate to maintain such control of the publishing industry. And it seems that a federal judge agreed with me. Ironically, they also agreed with the DOJ, who has now decided to do their job when it comes to antitrust. So October 20th is the fateful day. The freshly empowered antitrust division of the DOJ got a very much needed victory, and one that I think is one of many forthcoming. I'm going to pull a quote from the same anonymous source that The Hollywood Reporter is offering. And here's the quote. Anybody who is looking to do sizable mergers and acquisitions in the media sector where you're going to lose a player should be concerned after this. And this was attributed to one of the mid-major studio heads. So read A24, something like that. For once, the DOJ presented the correct side of the argument that adding another publishing house to the stable of Bertelsmann would stifle competition. It would, in turn, set authors back in terms of compensation and severely limit what types of books would be published in the future. In fact, that would essentially stifle culture as a whole, because there would be a lot of different kinds of books that would never, ever make it to your table, to your library, your bookstore, to Amazon. In an interesting, but I believe unrelated correlation, and this is being made by the Hollywood Reporter specifically, Warner Brothers Discovery got hit with the stock price by this ruling. Why did it get hit in the stock price? Well, Hollywood Reporter is now speculating that Comcast is actually in the hunt for Warner Brothers Discovery. At least that's what they think at this point. And this is despite a moratorium that's been, placed upon the entity up until 2024, or the anniversary date of the, Morris Trust spin-off merger, whatever you want to call it. Once again, I will point to the David Zaslav's own words, saying that Warner Brothers Discovery is not for sale. I don't think it will be. I actually think that it'll be in a pretty healthy place come the end of 2024. That's just me. In turning this particular deal in my mind, I arrive at a similar conclusion when it comes to pretty much any mega merger. They're not going to happen. You're not going to see this stuff happening in the future, at least not at the rate we have been. And there's going to have to be a lot of parting pieces that go along with this. The industry seems to think that the writing's on the wall, obviously, with the quote from that mid-major studio head. I think you're going to see some recent mergers and some not so recent mergers unwound. I'm going to point you specifically towards what happened with Ticketmaster and Live Nation. There's a lot of talk right now that was detrimental to consumers. And with the recent shenanigans around the Taylor Swift and Bruce Springsteen tickets, I would say that might get unspun. And of course, it's not just the DOJ that does stuff like this, at least not with this new approach. You have the FTC, the SEC, all these other entities diving into the backgrounds of these companies and coming up with legal objections to stuff, especially the FTC. The FTC is actually talking about taking another pass at the Paramount decrees over the concerns that from creation to distribution, there are too few entities out there that are allowed to participate in the marketplace, leaving a whole lot of others incapable of doing so. Namely, if you aren't one of the big five, you're probably out of luck. I would have to agree. Now, the acquisition by Disney of Fox was hard fought. They had to do a lot of maneuvering to make that happen, in part with certain elements from each of those companies. But it also brought to light a practice that was employed immediately afterward, such as limiting back-end deals and trapping actors into exclusive contracts that limited their scope of work. That sounds really old Hollywood to me. Not that Hollywood wasn't always red, but very anti-competitive to say the least. Regardless, in a dug-up quote from April by DOJ antitrust chief Jonathan Cantor, we have an expectation of future action. The era of lax enforcement is over, and the new era of vigorous and effective antitrust law enforcement has begun. Interesting. You know, I'd really like to take solace in that, in those words specifically, but it seems unlikely many of these competitive deals will get unwound. Maybe they'll be prevented in the future, but who knows? Of course, now we're at the point in the video where I ask, what do you think? Do you think that the government is going to step up and make fresh efforts to bolster competition? Have we seen the end to mega mergers for the foreseeable future? And is there a happy medium in growth that could still be on the table through an acquisitions process? I wonder. Please leave your thoughts down below in the comments section. Hopefully we can have a conversation about this, come to some conclusion together. But my final thoughts are I don't see a lot of stuff getting unwound. I do see them paying very close attention to everything in the future, and I don't see 4 studios. Or I still see 5. I also see tech jumping deeper into production and wanting to become a studio like Amazon or Apple. But even those 2 companies are under some serious scrutiny right now, regardless of how they diversify themselves. I think probably the next 18 months is going to be interesting. With that, be sure to support other independent creators here on the platform. They absolutely need your support in the forms of, a subscription or comments or a like or a share. In fact, they would like all 4 of those things, and so would I. So if you want to help somebody grow, do the things, and that really helps. With that, be sure to take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye. Forget to check out my Rumble at rumble.com/CultureCasino.
Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.